Hi, my name is Alex with Daytech Tech Tutorials, and today we're going to talk about scope creep, what it is, and how to deal with it. But before we jump into the video, a couple of announcements. First, seriously, subscribe to the channel. It really does help out the channel tremendously. It's completely free to you, and all you got to do is hit that red subscribe button. So make sure you click it now. Next, if you like my special edition bug shirt, we're going to be talking about bugs today. That's part of our scope creep. So I thought it'd be appropriate to wear the bug shirt. Anyways, I have an entire selection of t-shirts available in a link in the description below. Make sure you click on it, go check out the different shirts, see which one you like, get one for you, get one for your coworker, get one for your family, help support the channel, geek out, nerd out in the office, and have fun with it. All right, let's jump into the video. Today's topic is all about scope creep. And first, you may be wondering, what is scope creep? Well, let's go into a Jira project first so that I can kind of illustrate what scope creep is. So typically, the way this works before we have scope creep, the way you're supposed to do it is you have a sprint planning session where you do this, where you basically plan your sprint. And I have videos on sprint planning. This shouldn't be something new, but if it is completely new and you're like, what's a sprint planning? Go check out a video that I have on how to plan the perfect sprint. But scope creep occurs once you hit the start sprint button. Once you hit this button, this is the magical button that basically it locks in your scope. It basically says, and it tells Jira, and it should tell your team that, hey, we have started the sprint. The timer is on. We're off to the races. We've left the station. You can't, there's no more going back. There's a point of no return. And so once you do this, Jira preserves this. This is something sacred in Jira because your scope is now locked, and you want your scope to be locked because this will help not guarantee, but it will help improve your chances of success and having a successful sprint. Because if your scope is contained, if it's not altered, then your team will basically have a clear battle plan, a roadmap, if you will, of what they need to be doing, what they need to execute on over the next 2, 3 weeks, however long your sprint is. However, when you alter that plan, when you increase the scope, which basically means you scope creep, this is when things start to fall apart. And let me show you what scope creep looks like in Jira. So in Jira, once you have an active sprint, your team's working on it, they're doing updates. Let's just say that the next day your product owner is like, hey, we want something that we completely forgot. It's a high priority. It needs to get done today. And you're like, okay, no problem. We're going to bring it into the sprint. Now watch what happens here. When I do this, you're going to get a pop-up. Sprint scope will be affected by this action. Okay, and it's going to tell you, hey, we're going to move it into an active sprint. Do you confirm or not? And this is Jira's just gentle way of telling you, hi, not recommended that you do this. There's going to be some implications. And I want to show you what those implications are and what they look like in Jira as well. But overall, you want to be very, very cognitive of this activity. It's okay to accept scope creep under some circumstances. Mainly, and my preference is, if you're going to impact, if you're going to add something to your sprint, like I am here, the conversation you need to have with your product owner is, okay, I just brought this one in. What comes out? Because this isn't magic. You just can't bring more work in and expect the same output. When you do this, when you're acknowledging that you're bringing in extra work, the other variables didn't change. You don't all of a sudden have more people. You don't all of a sudden have more time. You still have the same amount of resources, same amount of time constraint. And now you actually probably even have less because you're into the sprint already. And now you have to negotiate. You have to work with your product owner and go, this is not okay. This is not an okay behavior. Because when you do this, you risk jeopardizing the sprint. Imagine if you're a football player and you throw the perfect Hail Mary, and all of a sudden the NFL decides to move or add an extra 100 yards to the field. It's not fair. It's very demoralizing, and it makes it really, really troubling when the team is trying to hustle and get to that goal and get to that finish line and score those points. Then all of a sudden the field just got expanded by another 50 yards. Very, very demoralizing, very, very challenging to keep a team motivated and excited about doing work when you keep changing that goal line. So if you're going to accept scope creep, again, you have to compromise. You have to bring something in and kick something out. Otherwise, you're just asking for a recipe of disaster. This is not going to go well if all you're doing is bringing it in. As a Scrum Master, you should also hold the line. This is part of your duty. This is your responsibility to say, wait, is this really that critical? Do we absolutely have to do it? Because keep in mind, sprints are tiny, right? We're just going to come back around in a week or two and we're going to get to do this all over again. So you need to be not aggressive, but you need to be firm and having the team understand, because sometimes the team just doesn't understand the value of Scrum and the agility of Scrum, which allows you to come back iteratively very quickly. It's not going to be months or years for this problem to get addressed. It's going to be a few days. And so if the team can wait, if it's not that critical of a problem, because let's face it, everything's always a problem. Everything's always a fire. Somebody always has some emergency. So you need a system to evaluate your emergencies, to make the determination, to make the call. Is this fire, is this thing you're asking me to bring into my sprint worth sacrificing the team, sacrificing the goal, sacrificing the morale, sacrificing the objective, right? There's a lot of sacrifices to bringing in that one thing that, to be honest, in most of my cases, I've been doing this for 10 years. It could have been an email type of thing, right? They're not always emergencies. There's an emergency in that moment, but they're usually a miscommunication. They're usually somebody just didn't understand something. They think that they have a fire. It escalated all the way to their bosses. They're afraid to challenge up. It's coming back down from the directors. It's coming back down from the VPs. And they're saying that they have to address it today, right now, at this moment. And again, they don't really understand just the significance of that impact and what it does to a team. It's very, very detrimental. So I recommend you try to hold the line, but if the push versus shove, bring something in, kick something out. It's the only way you're going to succeed, because if you just bring them in and nothing comes out, Scrum isn't going to work for you. Agile isn't going to work for you. And you're just going to end up in the scenario where Agile doesn't work for our team. And it's not because of that. It's because everybody around it, your ecosystem, your entire team, upstream, downstream, they all have to embrace the concepts of Agile. And so scope creep, very, very dangerous. And one of the other things that I wanted to show you is in Jira, we can actually visualize the scope creep. So when you go to your burn down chart, it will actually increase. Now, this one's going to be kind of hard to see in this chart because we don't have anything here. But if I come down here, you will see that I have a scope change and it added issues to the sprint. So as a Scrum Master, keep an eye on that. If you're seeing too many added issues to a sprint and not enough completed or removed from sprint, then we have a imbalance and we have to balance that out. We have to keep that sacred. Otherwise, your team is going to struggle and it's going to be a bloodbath. So anyways, this is pretty much it. This is just a metric that for you to watch. Take a look on that alert when you are bringing issues in, and keep an eye on these things. Talk to your team, bring it up at retrospectives, bring it up, escalate, and show the leadership team that scope creep is not a good thing. You don't want to increase your scope. Again, I understand life happens. There's certain situations. Sometimes you do miss something and you have to increase it, which is fine. But again, you have to balance it. Kick something out or have the team understand that something's just not going to get done. And just don't let it become a habit, because that's when we start to fail the process. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you're subscribed. If you've made it this far, please make sure you're subscribed. Hit that red button. It's absolutely free to you. Super, super easy. All you got to do is click, and it really, really does help out the channel. Drop a like, share this video with your friends, share it with anybody who you think needs to hear this message, because I often see a lot of teams blame Scrum or Agile or even your Scrum Masters for not being that good, when it's not really the tool or the process. It's legitimately just the people that just don't understand or appreciate the agility of Scrum and Agile. So share it with whoever you think needs to hear it. And if you want to get this special edition bug shirt, the reason I'm wearing it is because typically bugs are usually what causes the scope creep. They come in, they alter, we have some emergency, some immediate fire. It's typically in the form of a bug, and people will want to put that fire out. So bugs are usually the biggest culprit on these scope increases. There's not usually new features. It's usually like we have the problem, we got to get this, like Houston, we have a problem type of thing, right? So anyways, check out the link below, get your t-shirts below and geek out, show them off in the office, get one for everybody you know. Perfect gift. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.
It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now.